Not much has changed, right? Taking people's computers. Okay, here we go, lesson 12, and we only have 1 hour after this, so we're in the final stretch of today. We're in the middle. Lesson 12, a question I ask you based on the next 2 chapters in Revelation, because I want you to start thinking. I want you to start thinking and have the book of Revelation kind of be a tapestry that you know all the parts and how it's connected. Why would God send the 144,000 in chapter 7? See, I want you to think of God's logic, his plan. He's just announced the greatest destruction since the flood. He's sending waves of tribulation, starvation, and disease, and all this stuff is happening, culminating with this mega quake. Then, as soon as he announces all that, he announces the largest evangelistic team ever assembled in the scriptures, launched out. What I call the 144,000 is 144,000 Apostle Pauls. Because these are literal people, they're not angels. They're people that get saved, so they're normal, born sinners, heard the gospel, got saved people. They're Jews, and they know what tribe they're from. So you know what they are, just like the Apostle Paul. And they are deployed by God as almost an illustration. Do you all know 2 Peter 3, where it says, God is not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to the knowledge of Christ? Before the Lord kills a fourth of all the people on earth through all these plagues and everything, he launches the biggest evangelistic outreach the Bible ever describes. And that's what we see right here. It's right at the beginning of the tribulation. He announces in 6 what's coming, these 7 seals, and then in chapter 7, he launches those evangelists. And so basically where this fits is, we're right here. We have already been taken in the moment, in the twinkling of the eye, home to where Jesus is preparing a place for us. That's the promise of John 14. We are seeing our lives and are getting our rewards of all that we've done for Christ, that was done for his glory, while unfolding below us is this horrible tribulation. But even during the tribulation, chapter 7 is this bright spot of the love of God. Why would the Lord send this? Well, he's reminding the second generation church who got this letter that they're living in this world that is going to have an antichrist, it's going to have the deceiver, that's going to have the demons let out of the pit we're going to see next hour. And he says, I want you to know how to live for me right where you are. Now remember, the original recipients of the book of Revelation weren't living in the tribulation. That's why, again, a regular question I get as a Bible teacher is, why do you teach so much about the stuff we're not going to be here for? Because God sent it in the Bible as the capstone with a lesson that the first generation church got. This book was the motivator of the early church. They said, no matter how dark the world gets, we've got the scriptures and we know the plan. We've seen God unfold history. And specifically, the people that lived here got this message. And we know from church history that was the epicenter of the empire and of the persecution. And many of the stories from the book you've probably heard of, Fox's Book of Martyrs, are from this area, where the emperors would actually lead entire cities out to the edge of the cliffs, because Turkey has got a lot of mountainous cliff, valley situations. They'd lead them there with the legionnaires, and they would have to either invoke the emperor as God, or they'd push him off the edge of the cliff. I mean, boy, that is a moment of truth, where you would stand there, and if you said, I believe in Jesus Christ, you would feel the legionnaire giving you a little push, and splat. You'd fall 1,000 feet or 500 or whatever. See, that's what these people needed to see, that though the world was getting so dark, they were suffering. God is going to get the work done through them while they're here, even without them when they're not. He has a plan.